So this is another really short video for the police officer that took the report on the City Hall DHS BPD rapist Weinberger Epstein Mossad op rapist that knocked the phone out of my hand last night. We know BPD's involved because they had their snitch, Becky Burrell, give an indirect threat. The night I found the stupid note, it was printed on printer paper. It was typed out and printed off a printer, not signed. Somebody impersonating city officials telling me to stop building my cabin and it was an eviction notice without an actual camping isn't allowed in Arms Forest and stop feeding your raccoons. First of all, that means somebody's monitoring my social media posts. And since it wasn't signed and they didn't state any case law or anything like that, it was bullshit because the mayor already said those of us homeless who are camping in parks are not to be fucked with. I don't care about the structure bullshit. Why is there a structure? Because all you motherfuckers have been refusing to take a proper report and make proper referrals to all the necessary agencies since elected officials are involved in my murder and all the other racketeering scams that go on behind it, whether it's falsified records or misappropriation of funds, the COVID scam, whatever the fuck. The sex crimes by police and city hall people, it doesn't matter. When I text Becky Burrell and show her that note, she says, oh, they can't do that, blah, 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 blah. That's another way you fucked up. You had her snitching you out just enough to convince me that she did in fact work for Sarah George. That's a double-edged sword. That means you're all implicated. And then you had her say, oh, I wouldn't call police. They'll come out there and shut your camp down and they'll destroy your camp. That's a threat. You had her do that, try to use a scare tactic, because those cops knew damn well that the independent, uncorrupted investigators were listening to my calls and wanted me to call the police to see who would do their job and who shit the bed. So that's called consciousness of guilt. Scare her into not calling us because we're behind the shit. We had somebody go out there and put that note out tonight, and we know our entire shift's corrupt and ain't going to do shit. And when we don't do shit because we're involved, that's going to be obvious on the phone call. That was the night they had Howard Center call and basically try to imply that he was a police. He said, the police had me call you. Okay, so you're a police agent. I said, are you a licensed peace officer? No, I work for Howard Center. Okay, this is a criminal matter. The police are mandated to take a fucking report since this is part of an ongoing investigation by Cousy and State Police and Hochul's independent DOJ investigation and the Sheriff's Department. And you're supposed to take a report and bring them in on it, and you didn't fucking do it. And you tried to have Becky Burrell scare me with the threat of shutting down my camp if I called. And then you shit the bed in real time with Howard Center. Then you did come out and have Emmett Wood shut the camp down. Never mind, you didn't put a no trespass on the guy I had to call police on behalf of other hikers because the fucker was out there firing pot shots, probably at me, with a rifle. 50 yards from the church? 50 yards from the preschool? A couple years ago, then he follows me out to Market 32. Then I see him out walking his dog in front of Cambrian Way. So we know a lot of people at BPD are involved. So fuck around and find out. You can either, and I'm saying this to just anybody in general, because of Autumn. The only reason why I didn't call police and report Autumn Caton last night, because I already called on her friend who knocked my phone out my hand for whom Becky Burrell was covering by saying, oh, he barely, first she called him a perv, yes, he's a rapist, yes, he's under investigation. Then she thought I was going to, forget all about it. Then later on, after they think they've got it covered, they've lied to Sarah George and lied to whoever else. Then she responded, oh, he barely speaks English. Bullshit. That's why he was talking mostly in his native language and pretending he didn't understand what I was saying. And then right before he leaves, what did he say? I'll see you tomorrow. He can speak perfect English when he wants to. And he was damn sure speaking perfect English when he came on to me at the park. And I bet you all those women victims, Cousy and state police have been on his ass for years. So lying for him ain't going to do nothing but implicate you further. They've had that son of a bitch under investigation for years. They've been watching him hook up with women and not pay him, and then have the police and the parks people and the CSU, that bow-legged piece of shit that I got pictures and video of. I'll be talking to somebody, and then that motherfucker, for 45 minutes, and then that motherfucker comes up and then butts in and has to talk to those people I'm talking to. Oh, we got to make sure you're alive. You've been watching them talk to me for 45 minutes, but you think they're dying? Really? So, yeah, I'm not gonna make excuses for officers that are clearly going out of their way to not get implicated. You've already had Becky Burrell snitching your ass out for how long, and she's your own agent. And you had her doing that to further convince me that she worked for Sarah George. And then later she would come in with bullshit about Bill Kinnear. Oh, he don't work for police, he's just a fucking moron, and yes, he's a sexual predator. Running interference, but you done fucked up because she also admitted to the fact that you used the fucking bioweapon and you were poisoning the raccoons under the guise of getting them vaccinated for rabies and injecting them with a highly communicable bioweapon. And now you're busted for it, and your own snitched out, and you had her tell me the truth on you to further convince me that she worked for Bernie and Sarah George and Mulaney Stanek. You fucked yourselves. That's why they're leaving me out here, because they know I'm a cryptologist who's going to get you to say stupid shit and admit stupid shit and then put it all together, wrap it up in a nice little bow, and hand the state police and Hochul and the sheriff's department and Cousy your asses on a silver fucking platter. And I don't need to record it. They've already got it. I've already been over that. They don't need my recordings. They're making their own. So the only advice I can give anybody at BPD is you better start self-reporting. And that's the whole point of this video. Your immunity only applies to when you're actually participating in good faith in an ongoing investigation. I can lie all day long. I don't have secure comms, which I've asked for repeatedly. I can do drugs as long as it's in furtherance of me doing my job, because nobody's giving me cancer treatment and I've got to help. They want me to assist in their criminal investigation, which is mandated since somebody at Safe Harbor, a police contracted facility, went online, got Vermont Medicaid in my name and committed perjury on the application, forged my signature unbeknownst to me, and then Economic Services sent me to the police to report it, because that's not something, they only investigate like food stamp fraud, shit like that. They don't investigate actual criminal shit. And then you lied to Hochul's people and the sheriff and everybody else about all that, saying that I went in there on my own. You deliberately omitted the fact that EDS sent me. Never mind, Cousy's already, the sheriff's department have already got access. I got them flash drives of everything I had. Their undercovers got it. And that's they probably accepted those, not because they needed recordings of what went on here, but they've got the recordings of everything that happened in Missouri, Arizona, New York, and Florida. They've already got the recordings of Cronin. They've got all of that. I wasn't going to, there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. There was no way I was going to go and delete the ones from Vermont. But even after I gave them that initial flash drive, or actually it was a couple, I think it was 2 or 3 flash drives. Later on, when I offered them more, they didn't need them. I'm guessing those original recordings maybe gave them. Of course, they might not have needed that as probable cause since they're helping Governor Hochul. And UVM is contracted with New York Medicaid and operates 3 hospitals in New York, which means they're licensed with New York Department of Health, which automatically gives New York and the New York Attorney General Tish James jurisdiction anyway. Never mind, some of the ones in Buffalo were dropping her name and defending her and then trying to lure me to Florida or Arizona where it's warm after trying to illegally solicit my case and then admitting they're not even fucking licensed attorneys. They were going to supervise me and proceed indigent pro se, which is a whole nother story. I filed that lawsuit too, and the court has had somebody from some law school screen you. They don't waive that $400 filing fee until you've talked to, I had to talk to 2 students. They found it viable. Then I got to talk to their supervisor. It was called a pro se workshop. And it was right there at the federal building. There's a big office where you file federal lawsuits in the federal building in Buffalo. And you go up there at 1:30, I think it's 1:30 on Wednesday afternoon, or maybe it's Tuesday and Wednesday, whatever, and you apply for that workshop. They found it credible. I talked to 2 students. Then I got interviewed by the supervisor, who went up and told the clerk, yes, she's qualified, and told the clerk to waive the $400 filing fee. So miss me with the crazy conspiracy theorist, she don't have cancer bullshit. That ship sailed a long time ago, 6 years ago, and you're still making up these lies that I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist, even though you admit your lawyers, Paul Dragon's lawyer, admitted to Judge Hoare and read my Facebook post confirming I was the whistleblower who got Buffalo City Hall raided. Or one of them anyway. There was a whole lot of whistleblowers before me. But they could be passed off as disgruntled former city employees. I wasn't a city employee, and I had my roommates on record dropping Byron Brown's name and Cuomo's name and Trump's name and saying, yeah, I'm friends with Byron Brown's brother. And then the other roommate got nervous, and she told on the other roommate that the other roommate was turning tricks for him. That's sex trafficking. Why are you, the more you bury this shit, the stupider you look. You need to start self-reporting. You do not, that means when you're mandated to self-report as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a licensed peace officer or whatever, that means you are not immune from prosecution when you actually commit stupid crimes. You're only immune when you do shit without criminal intent, when you're doing it in furtherance of your investigation. And that's going to have to be sorted out by the lawyers in Alvin Bragg and Sarah George and whatever the independent special prosecutors are.